Housing and living. Our existence is dependent on meeting our physiological needs. And one of these very important needs in our lives is the need for safety. Safety may be felt within the family, between partners, in social groups, and last but not least, at home. Most of us live in various places within our lifetime. However, home is not a place, it's a feeling. Dear listeners, welcome to the next episode of your favorite podcast session.
Sloboda je kľúčom k nezávislosti. No, čo sloboda znamená pre teba? Štvorka ťa nebude obmedzovať. Sloboda pre mladých nie je len paušál. Sú to otvorené dvere do nového slobodného života. Tak daj záväzky bokom a prejdi do štvorky. Voľné minúty, SMS-ky a mobilné dáta dostaneš už za 4 € mesačne a to bez viazanosti. Všetko vyriešiš pohodlne na webe slobodapremladých.sk alebo v mobilnej appke Moja štvorka. Stačí, aby si mal potvrdenie o štúdiu. Tak na čo ešte čakáš?
Housing is an important part of our lives, and when we want to feel comfortable, we think about an ideal place providing safety, a feeling of home, warmth, and coziness. People sometimes look for the exact same places or elements which they liked during their childhood, or something that reminds them of home and good memories. If someone has a difficult taste and experience, their style of living and preferences are different. Living in cities includes more opportunities for jobs and schools, whereas villages or rural areas do not provide such a wide choice. Cities give more of a chance to find the right hobby, attend language or dance courses, as well as expand your social life in bars or events. Finding friends is not that hard, even for introverts. If you're a shopaholic, you can rest assured that shopping malls are waiting for your visit and your credit card. Not only shopping malls, but also the city itself has cinemas, theaters, museums, galleries, and places for fun or entertainment. Living in the city also comes with some disadvantages, like spending hours in traffic jams. Every bigger city has problems with huge numbers of cars, and when you're on the road, you need good luck and patience. The best solution for commuting to work from a distant neighborhood of the city is to use the underground. Unfortunately, there is no possibility in Slovakia to travel by underground, but trams and buses have their own magic too. You must expect a louder environment, so if you want to have a nap, we recommend you close the window and wear earplugs to avoid hearing honking horns or the noise of sirens. Traffic and factories have a negative impact on the environment and cause pollution, so don't expect fresh air like in the mountains. Another negative factor about living in the city is the hectic lifestyle. Days turn into nights, and 1 week flows like sand through your fingers. The rush and nervousness are palpable, but don't let anyone drag you down into this hectic crowd. Stop for a moment and enjoy the precious present. We know you might be stressed about earning money, because life in a city is associated with higher costs, rent, and standards. Even when you invest in better living in a flat, you can end up with limited privacy, which is annoying and exhausting from a long-term perspective. If you come home late from a party, be careful, because your parents are right about the higher crime rate. This is why it's a good reason to tell a close person where you're going and for how long. What's living in a village like? Those who live in the countryside could tell us a million stories, the pros and the cons of living here. Poets are inspired by the green forests, fresh air, distance from the polluted city, and the closeness of neighbors. That last element can be both an advantage and a disadvantage. Close relationships also cause gossip that is less likely in cities where there is more anonymity. On the other hand, no child will ever wake you up in the middle of the night running around the flat above your head. Forget about sharing a common wall with your neighbors. A house brings with it a precious feeling of liberation. Despite commuting into the city, poor public transport connections, and the lack of cultural events, villagers praise the quiet, calm atmosphere in nature. Gardening is the most popular activity, producing homegrown crops like potatoes, tomatoes, carrots, cucumbers, and fruit. Many people decide to manage animal farms, providing homemade milk and dairy products. Now, look out the window. What kind of housing do you see around you? Did you say a block of flats and apartments? Yes. Cities try to build ever newer complexes. Not only office buildings, but also blocks of flats and apartments. Wherever you look, you can see cranes. Although people's existence requires housing, from the environmental point of view, we can say it has a negative impact. Trees are cut down, and there is no option to intercept the water that causes floods. However, a contemporary lifestyle requires new complexes to be built. The price of an apartment in a new block is unbelievably high, and almost everyone needs to take out a loan to afford their own apartment. Although young people prefer living in flats, older people still love houses in the suburbs and their lovely atmosphere. What to do when you are an adventurous person who wants to travel around the world, but your finances are a bit limited? A caravan might be a suitable solution, which serves both as a vehicle and accommodation. Modern and fully equipped caravans are very expensive nowadays, so we recommend you save some money in your piggy bank. It's becoming more and more popular to live in the city and to be part of the rush. But tired workers also need to relax. Something that only a cottage in the mountains or in the countryside can offer. This needs maintenance, though, even if you don't visit the cottage often. So if your interest is temporary, don't do it. If you are a nature lover and you prefer wooden huts in the forest near the brook, don't hesitate to build your own hut, suitable for summer evenings. British people favor luxurious penthouse apartments, which are usually on the top floor, offering a great view of the millions of lights above the city. If you don't have that much money and are happy to have enough to spend on a burger from McDonald's, a bedsit is a good solution in Britain as well as Slovakia. The comfort of this accommodation is lower, even though you have your own separate room. You share the social facilities with your neighbors and housemates. Britain is spectacular with all its categories of houses. Detached houses are those which we Slovaks are used to. They are standalone houses where no one else has control over the house except the owner. They contain a maximum of 3 parts and an attic. A semi-detached house is one house joined to another with a common wall. The reason why these types of houses were built lies in the lower costs and faster building time. However, the big disadvantage is weak soundproofing from the next house. Other houses where noise can be expected are terraced houses that are in a row where each building is connected by a single wall on either side. They are energy efficient, cheaper, and because they're enclosed, this type of house retains the heat. Are there any other types of houses that share a wall? If you're answering yes, you are completely right. Back-to-back houses are also built in a row, but they were considered unhealthy due to overcrowding and poor ventilation, sanitation, and a lack of light. Since 1875, they can no longer be built. Architecture in America is different from in Britain. Americans prefer apartments and condos, short for condominium, which is a complex in which each unit is owned by an individual. However, housing in America is expensive, and there are houses in houses attached to each other with a common wall. Another type of house providing the most privacy is a bungalow with only 1 floor. Bungalows are becoming more popular in Slovakia, too. Americans are known for moving from one place to another due to job opportunities in different states and cities. This is something strange to Slovaks who usually stay in the same place for their whole life. Americans love adventure and rent an apartment, whereas Slovaks settle for a job near their houses. If people from Slovakia decide to move, They prefer to do it by themselves and ask friends or family members to help them with their packing and moving. But the British don't hesitate and usually hire a removal company to move their furniture. A difference can also be seen in gardening. Slovak people work hard, mowing the grass, growing their own crops, planting flowers, even though barbecues and grill parties are becoming popular too. The British tend to be more relaxed, and for them a garden means chilling and time for tea. They don't take the garden that seriously. However, they are happy to pay a gardener to look after it, so that they can relax without any concerns and worries. Garden parties full of food, music, fun, and conversation are very nice for family gatherings, celebrations, and strengthening relationships. Okay. So, we have already mentioned houses and apartments. But what does it look like inside them? The furniture and organization of houses and flats haven't changed much, and we're sure that everyone in Slovakia, and also in other countries, prefer to watch TV on a sofa in the living room, with at least one bookcase, unless we're book freaks. A fireplace in the living room creates a perfect and ideal image of a romantic evening, and its usefulness on freezing nights only confirms that it is important as well as looking good. Some pieces of furniture and specific appliances are positioned differently in Slovakia than in Britain. The British consider it normal to have a washing machine in the kitchen, while Slovaks exclusively require them to be in bathrooms. Overall, a British kitchen is similar to a Slovak one. The kitchen contains a fridge and a freezer, a sink, cupboards, and a stove, and as previously mentioned, a strangely placed washing machine. Another typical feature of British households is that there are carpets in almost every room except the bathroom and the kitchen. The reason for this probably lies in their ability to accumulate heat. Slovaks prefer hardwood floors, which are more stylish but harder to maintain. We can't forget about the two faucets, one supplying the cold water and another the hot water. Two faucets in Slovakia can be found in boutique hotels and historical buildings as a decorative feature to give an impression of luxury. What about America? What's special about the interior of American dwellings? Americans love luxury, and if they have the money for it, they feel no guilt in living in big houses full of rooms with a swimming pool, gym, and other luxuries which an ordinary mortal person can't afford. Apartments in towers or high buildings are very popular, and we are sure that you know these places from photos on Instagram. Imagine a bed bathing in the morning light of the rising sun, with a view of skyscrapers and monuments, with some sweet croissants and a cup of coffee. Yeah, well, we need to control our imagination, but some Americans probably wake up like this every morning. In conclusion, we all need somewhere to live, and we decide what kind of housing suits us best depending on our financial solution. Whether it's an apartment or a house, we probably need to take out a loan from the bank to possess our own property. There are some differences in types of houses in Britain and America. However, their functions are quite similar, except for the fact that Slovaks spend more time in their houses working than relaxing. What should you do if you want further information about houses and living spaces? Listen carefully. If you live in an unsafe area, it is really important to install a home alarm system to prevent a visit by burglars and other unwanted guests. It would be a real pity if you were robbed in your own home, which you bought with the help of the bank and the loan, which you have to pay back step by step, probably over 20 or 30 years. People who are rich and can afford to invest in several items of real estate are in stark contrast to increasing homelessness, which is becoming a serious problem in society. The prices of property are going up, and not everyone has the possibility to buy a brand new flat or rent an apartment. This is also the reason why a new phenomenon, squatting, is becoming a national sport. The aim of squatting is to occupy and live in someone else's property without permission. Homeless people in particular inhabit empty and abandoned buildings and make them into shelters. An alternative way of living is in eco-houses that are environmentally low-impact homes built out of ecological materials. Eco-houses, as well as mini-houses, are situated in nature, on trees, and they're very expensive. Dear listeners, maybe you're overwhelmed by all this information about housing, and everything that you've heard sounds different from your image of dream living. Well, don't give up on your dreams, but save your money to buy a house or apartment where you can live a happy life together with your loved ones. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll be delighted if you subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Write a comment on YouTube. Don't forget to tell your friends about us. We hope you'll listen to us again soon.